And I always felt like women are catty. Taking care of yourself first. Healing from your past traumas. Not the girls asking Abby how to be more confident. Can a man and a woman be friends? If that was the case, I wouldn't hire the therapist. It is not easy to leave a relationship, but you could do it if you really want to. How to find a good man. Girl. What's up, my cherry bomb? Welcome back to another video. On today's video, we have a girl talk. Now, this is not your average girl talk. Girl, we're gonna get it in. And honestly, if you don't have tough skin, this is not the video for you. But before we get into this talk, we gotta get us some Starbucks. So let's go.
Hello, welcome to Starbucks. How are you today?
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
Good. What can I get started for you?
Can I get a brown sugar shaken espresso with pumpkin spice cold foam on top? Venti.
Okay, which size did you want for that?
Venti.
All right. Any other drinks or food items for you?
That's all. Thank you.
All right. $8.52 is your total. We'll see you at the window.
All right. Now that we got our drink, let's get into this talk. How do you stay accountable and organized when you have a lot of things on your plate? The number one thing that helps me when it comes to planning is writing it down and starting from the bottom and working my way up. Because if you don't have a plan and if you don't jot down everything that you need to do, how are you gonna execute it, girl? Like, for example, when it comes to my content, the number one thing I like to do is to plan out a day before. Write down a plan a day before. And then the next day I get ready and I execute it. If I didn't have that plan, that next day or the day I choose to film, I'll be sitting there wasting an hour, 2 hours trying to figure out what to film, what to not film. And then I lose 2 to 3 hours. Another thing I like to do is after planning, I set up. So when you take that 1 hour to plan your content, that 30 minutes to lay out all your fragrances or whatever you're talking about, and then that 15 minutes to fix your cameras, that hour that you took or that hour, 2 hour that you took to plan out your content and fix your equipment the day before you film is gonna save you 10 to 12 hours throughout that whole week. You save time on setting up. Because you did that, you have more time to edit and more time to push out more content. Now, being accountable is knowing that you have that problem. You gotta know what your weakness is. But my weakness is my skin. I know that maybe I'll probably have a week max in the whole month where my skin is flawless, it's perfect. So I spend that specific week filming my content. I used to sit in bed and pout, and I'm like, okay, well, Abby, you can't do that because this is valuable time that you could have been creating content. So when I realized that my acne was a problem, you know what I did? I worked around my problem and I said, okay, now what am I gonna do to fix it? I started creating skincare content. And when I started creating skincare content, I started to talk about my struggles with acne. When I started to talk about my struggles with acne and people realized that I'm a real person and I have real skin just like them that breaks out, that scars just like theirs, they started to relate to me on a different level. It's just not a creator trying to sell me something. It's a creator that I know that has good skin, but occasionally have acne breakouts and all that good stuff. So now, whenever she does say something, I'm gonna trust it, or whenever she do say something, I can relate. When you find out what that weakness is or what's stopping you from being organized, from creating that content, starting your business, from just getting up and doing that homework, once you find out that problem, that issue, that weakness, what are you gonna do to change that? Ask yourself that. What are you gonna do? Because I'm feeling this way about my skin and my acne, I'm not gonna create content. No, don't like my acne prone skin, but let me get out of my head, let me get out of my feelings. What can I do right now to change how I'm feeling? Because you can choose to lay up in bed. You can't choose how you feel, but you can choose what you do after the feeling. If I'm breaking out and I feel like my face is ugly and I have a skincare routine to get my face back to normal, why don't I film that? Because that can help somebody else. So I use the lemons that Mother Nature throws at me and make lemonade with it. One of you guys asked me how to find a good man, how to find good relationships. There is no guide to finding a good man. Only way I feel like you can find a good man and a good friend in someone is taking care of yourself first, healing from your past traumas. I feel like it all starts at home. If you're trying to find a good man, take that step back and figure out what you need to work on. Because yeah, you want a good man, but when you find that good man, are you going to be a good person to them? Because if you feel like you're always finding horrible men or men that you like are always hurting you, why are you having the same patterns? Is it because you're always looking for that bad boy? Is it because you're always looking for that player? Is it because you're always attracted to that pretty boy macho man? Is it because you're looking for a tall, dark, and sexy, and every tall, dark, and sexy man that you find is always breaking your heart? Because if that's the case, take a step back, go back to the the drawing board. I feel like we put ourselves in a box when it comes to relationships, and we keep making that same mistake. I am not no relationship guru. I don't know nothing about no relationships like that. I can count on 3 fingers how many relationships I've been in. So what worked for me is throwing away that list, because you know we have one. We all have one, whether it's digital, mental, physical. We all have that crazy list. Quick story time, when it was time for me to find my husband, on my list I wanted tall, dark, handsome, very sexy. And I realized all the tall, dark, handsome, very sexies was the ones that was hurting me. And I brung God into it, and I said, God, the next person I bring to my parents have got to be my husband. So what I did was I was like, okay, instead of tall, dark, and handsome, I'm gonna still have that on my list, but I'm gonna also open up the list to medium height, same height, short height, light, dark, and, you know, great personality, because it was all about tall, dark, and handsome. I forgot about the parts where I need a good personality. I say all that to say, if you take a step back and analyze what the common denominators in each and every relationship that you've been with, when you're looking for that next one, those should be red flags. Look for the ones that you would have never given a chance, and you will be surprised. That's how I see it. And at the time I said, but God, I want him to come when I am completely healed, because sometimes you probably found that good man, but because you're so damn hurt, you push him away, you know? So I wanted to be healed, and God definitely healed me. And when Mark came along, Mark knocked on my heart doors, but not to be with me, but to be my friend. When he became my friend, the feelings was mutual. We were friends, and one thing led to another. We became lovers. Now, we were not friends as far as, oh, that's my bestie, that's my brother. No. He was an occasional friend that would text me, would have great conversations. It wasn't something like super public. It was just like somebody to, you know, talk to. And then it just became more than that. And at that time in my life, I was completely healed, and I was open to finding new things. I was not stuck on my list. Okay, and he's not perfect, and I'm not perfect at all. We're perfect together. Now, when it comes to finding a bomb friendship, I feel like you have to know what you want in that friendship. I feel like most friendships and most relationships that's out there nowadays are all about, what do you bring to the table? I just need somebody to be here for me. And I feel like it's one of those things where you have multiple friends, and I feel like you should have different friends, because you just never know. It'd be the person that you least expected that's gonna help you in a situation that didn't even expect to happen to you. So when it comes to finding a bomb friendship and a good friendship, I'm not sure I'm the right person, because I'm a person that most people gravitate towards naturally. It's like I have an invisible tattoo that people see and I can't see, that says, talk to me, vent to me. I feel like people find me very, you know, easy to talk to, easy to relate with. And I'm not a surface level person. Like, if you're a surface level person, I mean, we can't be friends. I need to know more about you. And it's not to like have your business out there, but like, if you're expecting me to pour into the relationship, you're gonna have to pour into me as well. And that's one thing that I realized that I was doing that hurt me so much. I wasn't matching energies. And I feel like saying that is so bad, but hear me out. I've had friendships where I was giving 1000% and they're only giving 25%. Is that a friendship or like a babysitter? You tell me. Like, if I'm giving 25%, you better be giving 25% to make it 50, you know? It's a two-way street. Avoid surface level people. If this person, after 3, 4, 5 years, you have been talking and you still don't know their house, you still don't know who their family members are, I think it's time to move on, because they're surface level with your friends. So yeah, I feel like I'm not the best person to ask about friendship, because I'm very, you know, understanding, and most people gravitate to me naturally. But I would say just make sure you have boundaries. And if you can find somebody that have boundaries just like you, that's willing to put in 100% just like you are, then you found you a good person. Yes, there's gonna be ups and downs, but for the most part, you don't want to be in a friendship where you're putting 1000% and they're only putting 25%. And I've went through it. That is not what you want at all. Not the girls asking Abby how to be more confident. Y'all, that is one thing that I struggled with, but I found that faking it till you make it really helps you out, because that's what helps me out. Probably the shyest person that you'll ever meet, but when you do meet me, because I'm so shy, I would literally walk up to you and be like, hi, how are you? Faking it until I make it. Not because I don't care about how you feel, but I am faking like me not being scared. And I realize the more you fake it till you make it, you're actually gonna make it. There's gonna be people saying, oh, I don't wanna be a fake person. No, that's not what I'm saying at all. If you pretend like you're okay, you're gonna be okay. You're gonna be pretending so much that you're gonna realize that you are okay for real, you know? So that's what I had to do to be more confident, and I'm still working on it. But now, like, I remember before when I started vlogging, I wasn't able to walk in the stores with my camera. Now, I don't give a damn who sees me with my camera, because I know if I'm not out here with my camera, somebody else is going to be out here with their camera, and you guys are going to watch them and not me. And if I want that content in, I need to be outside. So sometimes you just got to fake it till you make it, sis. Put on that lipstick, put on that favorite fragrance, put on that dress, get outside of your box. My number one thing, I was stuck in that box, and that's why I was not confident, because I was stuck in that box and I felt like I was not confident enough to get out the box. You have to get out your head and just fake it until you make it. That's my biggest advice. I didn't realize how confident I was until I went to LA, and girl, I took the mic during the Sephora dinner. I took the mic and I told my story. I would have never done that in the past. So you literally have to fake it until you make it. Dating as a woman of God, this probably was the hardest thing to do for me, because my dad, as you guys know, was a pastor. So I was a PK. They put us on a pedestal that is not even realistic. So when it came to dating, I had to be intentional about the person I dated. So I couldn't just go to the club to find somebody. And my parents was super strict when it came to me. I put God first. Honestly, dating as a woman of God, you got to put God first. You have to put him in everything that you're doing. And it may seem cliche that I say this, but around the time where I was looking for my husband, I told God, I said, I do not want to bring nobody to my mom that is not my husband. If you want a man of God, obviously, you have to work on yourself. You have to make sure that you're in a stable position, because if you're not in a stable position where you can pour into somebody, how do you expect them to pour into you? You know, like I said, it's 50-50 when it comes to putting effort into a relationship. Now, the other stuff, that's another story for another day. Comment down below if y'all want to hear my thoughts on 50-50 in the entire relationship. But dating as a woman of God was really hard for me, but putting God first and letting him know what I wanted, he put me and placed me in environments where I was in a church setting, or I was in a church band where I was able to find my husband. So I would say, as a woman of God, make sure you know what you want and you put God first, and I promise you, God will align everything the way it should be. And if you was asked on a date, you know, give the person your number and then go home and ask God, like, God, is this the right person for me? Please show me a sign. I promise you, God is going to show you a sign. If everything goes smoothly for that date, it's probably one that God probably wants you to go to. But if everything is going wrong, there go the sign. That's the red flag that you was asking from God. So definitely put God first, because he would definitely help you out. And I know how cliche it sounds, but he will help you out. Trust and believe it. I don't have that much dating experience, but what I will say is the moment I felt tired and I was ready and I knew I was ready, God made sure. Because God only comes when he knows that you are purely ready. You know, if you keep saying, oh God, I want a man, but you're not ready, you're not fixed, you're not healed, you're still hurt by your past relationship, you really think God's gonna bring you to someone so you can hurt them too? No. And that goes for the men's side as well. That's not everybody's story, but that's what worked for me. How to break up with your partner, girl. First of all, if you're asking that question, you're not ready to break up with him. When you know, you know. When you know you're hungry, what do? You go get food. When you know you need to use the restroom, you go to the restroom. When you know it's time to leave a relationship, it's time to leave. Because us as women, we don't just get up and leave. It takes time. We mentally break up in our head. Emotionally and mentally, we're already out there. If you even thinking about that, he's not for you. You know why? Because I feel like every situation that me and Mark have been through, because we've been through some stuff, breakup never was the question. The question was, how do we make this better? Breakup never came to mind on both ends. But if you're questioning yourself, oh, should I be with this person? That's the answer already. You need to break up with them. Now, how to physically break up with them? Girl, you know how to do it. You literally tell them that I don't want to be with you anymore. If you're questioning yourself about it, you're not ready. If you know that you want a man that's going to take care of the bills and he's not, it's already the answer right there. And he's not making no effort after you've talked to him plenty of times, that's the answer right there. Most of the time we ask questions, how do I break up with him? How do I get past cheating? You're just looking for someone to validate the reason why you should stay, not really why you should leave. I don't want you to take offense with the answer I gave you. Take a step back and figure out what you want in a relationship. If what you want outweighs what you're getting in this relationship, that's already your answer right there. All you have to say is verbally, I don't want to be with you anymore. That's basically it. My ex-husband and I are really good friends, and I actually consider him as one of my best friends. Just because the marriage didn't work doesn't mean that we can't be friends. My question is, do you think that you can be friends with an ex? You can definitely be friends with an ex. Can I be friends with an ex? No. because I'm gonna always think about how you hurt me, because there's a reason why you're an ex, because you had to hurt me for me to leave you, right? You had to physically not be aligned with me for me to leave you, mentally and physically. So I know that people say that men and women cannot be friends, but I feel like that is not the case, because I have more men friends than women that has never made a pass on me at all, to the point that I'm actually friends with the husbands before I'm friends with the wives. And that's because I grew up with brothers. I don't have sisters. So, and I always felt like women are catty and they take things to the heart too quickly. I feel like it just depends on how that person treated you in a relationship. Honestly, if I'm leaving you, that's because we physically and mentally was not compatible. So I feel like I don't think I could be your friend. I'm gonna always think about how you hurt me or how we did not work out. I can't be friends with you. That's me personally, because imagine me still being friends with my ex while I'm married. My husband, in the back of his head, is gonna always think that there's something going on. There's feelings. No, thank you. It just depends on you and your personality and how you see it. But I applaud you for being able to be friends with an ex, because girl, I couldn't. A question that you guys often ask me a lot is, how did I get over my depression? The number one reason why I was able to get out of my depression was praying. And I invested in myself. I invested time, and I realized that one thing that I wasn't doing that I was doing before, prior to my depression, was prayer. And I wasn't praying, and I threw myself away from God. I was upset with God, and I had to take a step back and say, girl, the one thing that you're not doing that you used to do prior to being depressed was praying. So I went back to church and I went back to praying, and that helped me. And that was not the only thing that helped me, but it was one of the main things that helped. The second way was getting into therapy. And one thing Haitians do not believe in is mental health and therapy. And I don't care what you think. If you think I'm crazy or whatever, I'm going to therapy, because therapy have helped me in so many ways. Now, if you're going to therapy and you feel like you're still in the same place that you was last year, hire another therapist or figure out what you're doing wrong, because you should not be in the same place that you was 6 months ago. That would be literally a waste of money. So I had to make sure that I found the perfect therapist. I use BetterHelp. This is not sponsored at all. And I went through 3 therapists before I was able to find my perfect. My husband didn't even know. I was going to my therapy session at 8 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock in the morning at times, and it was every 2 weeks. And my husband started to notice a difference and a change in me, in my attitude and the way I react to certain things. And he was realizing, he was like, what did you do different? I was like, yeah, I went back to church and I have something to tell you. And he was like, what is it? I was like, I've been going to therapy. He's like, oh my God, I'm so happy for you, Abby. Why didn't you tell me? I could have been there for you. We could have talked about your sessions. I'm like, that's the thing. Like, if that was the case, I wouldn't hire the therapist. I didn't want to talk to you. I didn't want to talk to friends. I didn't want to talk to nobody. I wanted to talk to someone that had no idea who I was, and I felt comfortable spilling all my beans to in confidence. Honestly, it was the best decision that I could have done for myself. So that's how I got out of my depression. That's it for today's video. We talked about accountability, being organized, relationships. We talked about a lot of stuff. And if you guys enjoy this type of content where I take you to the park and we just sit down and just really talk, comment down below and we can make this into a series. Let's continue the conversation in the description box below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and tune into this channel, because I have a lot in store for you guys. I love you guys. Thank you so much for choosing this video. And if you are new here, consider subscribing, because we talk about fragrances, beauty, lifestyle. I'll see you guys in the next girl chat. Bye.